Okay, so hey everybody, this is the Gno.land developer call for July 12th. It's actually our ninth public developer call. So, and I think we have everyone on the call from the community on Block. Yeah. So, do you want to? I put you guys first. Do you want to give a quick update on what you're working on, but also a little bit your upcoming grant submission and just a quick overview of what the road to mainnet entails from your end?
Yeah, sure. I think I could start. And I'd like to share my screen if it's possible.
Oh yeah. Wait, sorry.
All right, can you guys see my screen?
No.
It's coming.
1 moment. Yeah. All right. Is it good?
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna start, and I know there's a long list of topics that we'll be covering today, so I'll try to keep it short. And today I'll be briefly showcasing GnoSwap, the first automated market maker with concentrated liquidity that we've been building. And our main focus with GnoSwap was to abstract away the difficult mechanisms of concentrated liquidity to keep the interface as minimal and simple as possible. And so here's the front end that's still a work in progress. And what we wanted was to have a one-stop venue for traders to view all the information of tokens on Gno.land, because we thought that having to hop back and forth between a DEX and a data aggregator like DeFi Llama or CoinGecko just to see the charts or trends creates a bad user experience. So we wanted to minimize that. And yeah, so I'm just gonna give you guys a tour around, and here you can see the list of tokens that's tradable on GnoSwap. And the swap page is still a work in progress, so I'm gonna hop over to Earn, where you can see all these incentivized pools and all the other pools sorted by liquidity, volume, fees, APR, and liquidity mining rewards, basically. And in the wallet page, you can see your balance, staked LP, unstaking LP, etc. And you can also deposit or withdraw assets from the interchain with IBC once Gno.land supports IBC. And of course, we support light mode for users who prefer light settings. And for the next couple of months, we'll be focusing on the GNOSOP core to hopefully open source it by the end of Q3. And that's it for GnoSwap. And I also want to mention that we'll be releasing a new blog post series covering Gno.land and GnoSwap to basically spread the word. And the first episode will be published by tomorrow. So we'd appreciate it if everyone can take a look and share it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And if I want to hand it over to Dongwon to see if he has anything to share.
Yeah, thank you. So for the launching timeline of GNOSwap, we are aiming to launch GNOSwap when Gno.land launches the mainnet. So there are lots of things that we need to work on the contract side of GNOSwap, and some core functions from the Gno.land blockchain. So we actually have a list of things that we plan to contribute to the core side of Gno.land as well. And as Michelle mentioned in the call, we'll be submitting a grants. We'll be submitting our application in the grants program with the list of things that we plan to contribute to the core side of Gno.land. So yeah, hopefully our contributions will be helpful for the to boost up the launching date of Gno.land.
It's very cool.
Shall I share, Donghuan, the link in call chats at least?
Which link?
The one that you guys would be submitting for the grant application.
Yeah, sure.
We don't have to take a look now, but maybe that way now everyone knows kind of the context and can give some feedback. Okay. Your Petar's rock star. Wait till you see his application, his grant application. Okay. Should we? Yeah. So this is the grant. I mean, I think the idea, right, Dongwan, is that it would be really nice to get some feedback from everyone in the Google Doc, and then the plan is to submit it in the funding and grants GitHub repo. So yeah, if everyone could take a look and see what it's pretty detailed. Is there anything else that you guys want to cover, or shall we move on?
I think we can move on. Do you have anything to add, Andrew?
No, I think we covered everything.
All right.
Just a simple thing. You said you will launch GnoSwap at the launch of the mainnet. Potentially, we'll need to wait for IBC to be released if you want to exchange not only internal tokens but existing tokens too.
Yeah, right. So
It makes sense to run it before, but it will be very limited before IBC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you have someone from territory?
No, I think Antoine's trying to join, but I did have the I guess the bug that Norman opened up. I think there was some. I think Petar, you mentioned you wanted to add some feedback and context. It would be good if we had Antoine joining or Norman, but maybe they can catch the recording.
Yeah, I'm working on this. I'm trying to narrow down where the problem is. I've tested a few scenarios, and so far I haven't been able to reproduce it.
Yeah, and sorry, for context, this is the pop push slice returns old elements issue number 939.
And just for information, so Norman is trying to fix, and Norman told that he potentially found another similar bug. He just want to make sure that it's not a false positive, but he will make sure to open the issue with an explanation if that's the case. They also told us in DM that they are at 90% of the first version of the moderation DAO. So we can potentially expect the next meeting to be a meeting with a demo.
Yeah, and the plan is also that we had our sync with territory, that we might launch a moderation DAO testnet. We talked about this with Milos, so that people can test out the DAO interface.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would be part of testnet 4, or I think we said maybe its own testnet, so the moderation DAO testnet. But yeah.
No, I don't think they will have a dedicated testnet. There is a topic I don't know. I will try to discuss this today, but definitely it's about using an existing testnet if possible, and it can be the third one or the fourth one depending on what we discuss here.
Shall we then talk about that? I think Zach's not here, Sage is not here. I know maybe a quick no IDE update, but then we talk about the.
Oh, Ilker is there to make an update, Ilker, or
No.
too early?
Yeah, I mean, we are working on the playground. for the last 2 weeks now, and it will be ready hopefully by the end of this week. Yeah, and we will ship it to the Gno.land example website. So, and it has, I mean, it is a minimal version of the playground, but there will be, of course, more features in the future. And right now we have the functionality for running the tests and using the Gno REPL and extending, collapsing the view of the playground, like maximizing it, making it full screen if needed. And yeah, we also have the tabs. You can switch between tabs with multiple files. Pretty useful for tutorials. And yeah, that would be all.
Yeah.
And the note you opened up something around the VM crashing after 2 inputs. That doesn't impact you, does it? Or it doesn't impact no IDE?
Sorry, I missed the question. Can you say again?
You opened up issue 950.
950.
Crashes.
Oh,
the
yeah, I
VM
mean,
that
it
that's
was-
separate from any blockers for no IDE, right?
No,
yeah,
no.
it's not a blocker.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was just you opening issues. Okay.
No. Actually, it's a bug affecting many things, including IDE. But since no, it's okay. It's an
Okay.
alpha, yeah. So it's made to be broken actually.
Okay,
The-
so but it wouldn't stop
goal is
anything from.
Actually, the goal is not to fix it, but potentially to rewrite the REPL in a more reliable way.
Okay, do you want to, I have a list, but maybe we start with what you were saying, Manfred, about the upgrade strategy for everyone. This is issue
Yeah, I think
070, since it relates to quite a
Yeah.
few things.
this one is important. So basically, test 3, the AVL package on test 3 is not matching the one on GitHub, meaning that if your contract depends on AVL, it will either work when you run the local tools like Gno test, or when it's published, but not both at the same time because the API is not compatible anymore. And so this is an important case because AVL is pretty common in smart contracts on Gno.land. But it's more general issue about what do we want to do in terms of like monkey patching of on-chain data on test 3. So it's specific to testnets. Maybe it can go further for some devnet from local net, but I think it's specific for testnets. But since the testnet today are not a testnet allowing the mainnet to be focused on production, no, actually the testnet is the only network we deliver. So the goal is to have something that makes sense where ideally when you write something locally, when you write something working on GitHub on the master branch, it should work on the test 3. And yeah, there is a discussion about what we should do. So it's more a general issue. Maybe we can discuss each time we have the issue, but I think it will happen again and again. And for your information, there is a proposal with an existing PR made by Ray, consisting of not making a PR against master, but against the chain/test3. So it's a PR to make, for instance, the faucet working, even if the faucet was depending on AVL. And for the other proposals, they are just a proposal with pure text. So we have some like we just reset the whole blockchain. Another one is to say, okay, each time we have significant change in the main libraries, we can release a new testnet. Another one is to try to implement migration features. So it can be a helper allowing to maybe rename a package and patch all the contracts depending on that package. Another one is to say, okay, GitHub is just designed to match the upcoming mainnet. And in the meantime, if we have additional versions, we just publish them with different names. But then there is an incompatibility. So you basically need to patch your contracts before publishing them. So that's not ideal, but it has the advantage of not having to deploy a new testnet or to reset anything. And last one is about just trying to create a single migration utility that will be the only one we will use. And this one is just about basically patching all the contracts that are on GitHub and potentially breaking existing contracts. So this one is about having, I don't know, maybe 50-50 percent of working contract after and 50-50 broken contracts. So it's a mix of resetting everything, but maybe less, less total.
I don't understand Prop 5.
Prop 5 is about having a single migration. So it's not about writing migrations and keeping a migration folder each time you want to migrate. It's about having a single utility, maybe a dash override contracts based on GitHub, or I don't know. And the goal is just to basically patch the contract on chain. So it's something dedicated to the way you run the blockchain, something that could make sense eventually on testnets, where we just override the contract source code, but we don't check if future contracts, if contract published after, if existing contract, depending on the previous contract, will be broken. So right now, if you want to publish something that is not compatible, the publish will fail. Here we are bypassing this security because we can make something becoming failure. So basically, it's a single migration that could become a CLI flag, allowing to just say, okay, patch without syncing just each package source and make no additional check. So it's basically the Prop 3, except that it's a generic migration instead of having custom migration with a...
Okay. Well, I don't think we can do migration. It's difficult because if there's any state from a key package stored in the realm, so if the realm stores anything that is a P package struct, like I guess an AVL node or tree or node, I guess, then we'd have to migrate every single instance stored in the store, and it's possible, but it's a lot of work. I think it would actually require a lot more work than just launching testnet 4. Another proposal we can do instead of migration. So I mean, there's a whole thing about upgrading. I think there's some documentation somewhere, although if I could try writing something too, but all right, yeah. So what we sort of have landed on is we've landed on for sure is that P packages are immutable in spirit, and the realm packages can be updated, and so that gives us kind of the best of both worlds. But there's also there is a way to also change logic, even for P packages, possibly. So the way to do that, it would be very limited in its feature set, but you could. It wouldn't be too hard to say upload new functions and new methods. You could change functions with the same signature, keep the signature, and you could also append new fields, say, to structures. But that gets really complicated because now you have to also, when you're decoding structures, you have to deal with like default values of these new fields.
Well, adding fields to a struct, or even just adding a method to a struct potentially creates backwards incompatibilities. Actually, I mean, you've got to strike a balance, of course, and I think you gotta make it so that So it can break in an upgrade, I think. Yeah.
Well, if you add a new function that was never used and we don't support reflection, then presumably it wouldn't break anything, right?
Actually, I mean, there are edge cases because like the edge case, like this is referred to in the Go.1 compatibility promise, saying we don't guard against this edge case. And it is the following, that if you add, if like there's a struct that is embedded in another struct, and it also embeds another struct, and they both have the same method.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's one. Another one I just realized is yeah, something might not implement an interface before, and now suddenly it does. If you add a method, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay. So this is telling me even more that like we really shouldn't do this. Here's another suggestion.
We could just packages. We were thinking of using Gno.mod anyway, right? Like do proper versioning. Like because they're supposed to be immutable and not have a state. Like it's the realms that keep like the AVL the specified version of AVL that they want to use. But that means as a consequence that if I want to change a package, then I can do it because like all the dependents are locked in the version of AVL and don't necessarily have to receive the latest upgrades. That was one of the reasons why we had a Gno.mod to eventually support that.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what I was going to suggest is that we okay, I don't know about the Gno.mod. Maybe I guess that would work. I haven't thought about it, but the suggestion would be to, for now, upload a new package, AVL2, and source code can use. And so you know, so we keep the testnet 3, we upload AVL2, and contracts can use AVL2, and then when we're about to launch testnet 4, then we can migrate everything that references AVL1 to AVL2. Or rename AVL2, and then after rename AVL2 to AVL1.
It's proposal 4.
Okay. Yeah. Well.
And the good thing is that Ray worked on a PR to fix to port the GNO faucet specifically for test 3. So it's not something that will match again master, but something that will redeploy AVL v2. And yeah, it basically ports the faucet code to use the new AVL.
Yeah, but what I'm suggesting is after that, on top of that, when we launch testnet 4, we also migrate AVL2 to AVL1, and we remove AVL1. And I guess Gno.mod can help there. I think, is that right? Users, well, I'm not sure if Gno.mod helps, but yeah.
Yeah, this is another topic. There's basically a discussion between keeping Gno.mod exclusively for local development and not publishing it versus keeping it and making it understood by the blockchain. So in one option, Gno.mod used locally, and we can imagine, I don't know, patching the source code to replace imports with fixed immutable version. It can be an option. Another one where Gno.mod is published, understood by the chain, and the import without version is resolved dynamically. The problem here, in my opinion, is that it can become confusing. I personally advocate for Gno.mod being only something local. Then I'm not sure about patching source code or not. But imagine you have contract A depending importing AVL v1 as AVL, contract B importing AVL v2 as AVL2, still as AVL. You start having something strange where contract B calls contract A my AVL struct, which looks like an AVL.tree, but technically that's not the same thing. In a normal Go package, you can't have this because the Gno mode, the Go mode is specific to the whole project. If we want the blockchain to understand Gno mode, I fear it will become either confusing for the chain or for humans to have multiple versions at the same time. What I prefer personally is to say, okay, it's patched, I don't know, by the chain, by the source code, but at the end it's ABL v1.tree, ABL v2.tree, and when you read the source code, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But
That I like that too. It's just that the AVL, I'd say we don't want AVL v1 to exist. So
yeah, sure. No, it's a general topic about Gno mode when used for P packages, so for packages that could make sense to have better versions over time. In my opinion, most of the r/something could stick to P/ my pure package v1 because my pure package v2 is not intended to be just fixes. It's potentially just new optional features. And if you don't need them initially, there is the same pressure of updating your dependencies as you can have in Go. In Go, it's common to update dependencies even if you don't care that much because you prefer to stay up to date and have smaller updates to do. If you have something and it's costly and expensive and risky to just update dependencies, I think it's okay to stay with a very old version as soon as the version does not have a security issue actually. Maybe the compatibility will become another concern if you want r/foobar interoperability with R something and they want to share some structures. But by default, I don't think we will have the same pressure as in Go to always update the dependencies. It can be completely okay to stay with an old version because you just needed the initial set of features.
Yeah, I think we have to do that, right?
Yeah.
In the long run, in general, right? Yeah. It's just that we haven't launched mainnet yet, so we have a chance to get our v1 P packages in a good state. The better it is, the less confusion and compatibility issues there will be in the future.
That's basically how I make the split between P and R in terms of versioning needs. In my opinion, I always consider P/npm and R/app and npm for devs, for users, where it's as soon as you deliver a secure package, it makes sense to make v2, v3, v4 because you add new edge cases, you have support for more types. For instance, P/UFMT. Even if it will probably be replaced by FMT soon, it makes sense to have P/UFMT v2, which now support, I don't know, bigint. But if you depended on a UFMT for the first version, you don't need to update UFMT v2. So yeah, we will discuss this again. So here, what you suggest is we keep test3, we upload the clone version of AVL and GitHub to AVL v2, meaning that AVL test3 demo AVL is not similar to GitHub. People need to take care, need to change their import if they want to publish.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, it's okay for me, and then we can just continue with Ray work. I just need to. I will basically duplicate the current server state and make a test on another RPC port to give a try. Okay, when I think test 4, we remove. Okay.
But why not just up? Okay, we can do that. Because my question was, in my mind, the options are either we just go with testnet 4 now, or we do what you suggested. I guess in general, what you suggested is better. So I might as well just get used to that.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't like that much to have something inconsistent between GitHub and the chain, but I also prefer to not release too many testnets. And for instance, for the testnet 4, I want some features to be, yeah, I prefer to wait a little bit more for testnet 4, but I don't want to wait to publish a faucet because that's one of the current problems. And I think it's a good PR made from Ray here because we have an example, a reusable example, if someone wants at some point try to make some kind of monkey patching between two different Gno.land chain with incompatible packages. So let's do this for now. Let's remember that a testnet 4 will happen soon, and the testnet 4 should start fresh without these strange things. Testnet 4 should match the GitHub and have only one version of AVL. And I don't know what you think, but for AVL makes sense to have a single version. But for packages like UFMT, so this one actually, to be honest, didn't have many updates. But does it make sense to start keeping in the GitHub repo or publishing various versions? So basically, I want to update UFMT. Is it okay to git env UFMT v2? So the GitHub only match the current version. Do you prefer to keep a single version and I don't know, have Gno.mod indicating the public path is now UFMTV2? Yeah. What do you suggest if once again we need to update a p/ on GitHub and we try to have a testnet that is compatible with GitHub? Should we start renaming the package? Should we do this? Is it shocking to have multiple versions on the GitHub?
I'm not really sure what this is doing. Why would we remove UFMT? And is this being done in the developer's computer? I'm confused.
If we do this, we basically will keep multiple versions of UFMT on GitHub, so that it's compatible over time. AVL is a special package because we just want a single version.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why we're removing UFMT. Well, okay, I don't understand where this command is being run. So I guess on the developer's computer.
Yeah, git push, git open PR. Basically, it's if I want.
It's
I
CP,
want
it's not
to touch
RM.
UFMT.
I
So
think
I want to open
R-
a PR. I want to open a PR with breaking changes on a P package.
Yeah, I think we do exactly what we're doing here for AVL. I don't understand. Yeah.
You suggest not caring that much about having an exact matching between GitHub path and testnet path, as soon as we keep a simple GitHub repo matching the expected upcoming testnet and mainnets, right?
I don't understand. Sorry.
Our strategy is we want to make breaking change on p/something. It's okay to publish v2 manually. Let the one becoming unsynced from GitHub. We let developers patch their code, their import path before publishing on outdated testnets. And we focus on having a single GitHub version of each package without versioning path, targeting the upcoming mainnet.
I like the other approach better. I think, it makes sense to have two incompatible versions, say, of AVL on GitHub. And the reason for that is I think, it's not the case now, but there could be further updates to the V1 in case of security, updates, which wouldn't have to be backward compatible. But I think it makes sense to maintain them both on GitHub for this reason.
I don't like it in terms of having a clean repo. I do like it in terms of having early experience of having versioning, because then we can have on GitHub values. We are not forced to migrate everything to V2 actually. We can let some error using the previous version, which will be similar to what will be the future in Gno. It's possible to have multiple versions, and that's okay for pure packages. So yeah, I don't know. The two make sense, except for packages that are not intended to have multiple versions, especially because they would be passed a lot between contracts, like AVL. Basically all the data structure should have only one implementation. But then when it's just about helpers like UFMT or the access control or whatever, it could make sense to have multiple versions on GitHub, especially if we want to demonstrate that then it's up to the realm to choose its version.
Right. I'd say that's the general approach. But we might want to have the option. We might want to deprecate a V1 like a UFMT, in which case the onus would be on us to migrate everything, right, for a new testnet.
So should we think about a deprecation flag right now, a way to mark something as deprecated either on chain or on GitHub? It can be in Gno.land on GitHub or with a code on the chain.
No? I don't think it's about. Maybe it's the opposite. It's like marking something as stable, right? Like if it's marked as stable, it means we're going to keep it. And otherwise, it might be the case that upon a new testnet, we might remove it and replace it and port all the existing code that we have in the repo in the examples folder.
So I suggest we keep thinking. I would love to see other topics in the agenda. I will try to publish raise PR for faucets, and next time we discuss, I will give you a feedback on how it was going. Let's keep this and think about this and discuss in the upcoming days.
Yeah.
Is it possible that we pick up the issue 808? I think this is with Morgan, but it is the realm with import encoding JSON and the reflection related issues, Morgan. And again, bear with me, but there was a lot of talk in a recent call with Territory about JSON. So is that possible? Does that sound okay?
808 or this one?
Yeah, it's the realm with import encoding and the reflection related issues.
Oh, sorry, I made something bad. Oh, okay, just a comment.
Yeah, my comment targets specifically talking about reflection because, yeah. wanted to like yeah, from what I understand, like Unbock need like JSON for their things, and we could potentially, I could see a future where we could just like copy the code from encoding JSON in the standard library, Go, and take it to Gno, but we will need to have reflection to do that. So, obviously, like, I wanted just to like gather some first feedbacks and like first ideas, especially like from Jay, about first whether or not we should have reflection, and two, what it should look like. Like, should it be like, I think it should be like something like Go's reflection package with some other things which are specific to us, which may be useful to see, like inspect a realm state. Yeah, I mean, I just what should reflection look like, and where if we want to have that or something different.
Yeah, that's a good question. What are the downsides to supporting when you think about reflection?
I mean, I think like, okay, so
Oh,
Go implements
sorry,
Go implements reflection. Go implements reflection largely using unsafe calls and like the internal representation of interfaces. And we would need like the low-level methods to work on that to be like native bindings, which connects to the other thing I've been working on. But and I guess like the biggest issue that I can see with reflection is that we need to be really careful about it, not being able to do things we don't want it to. Obviously, like exported, unexported, which is something that Go's reflection really does. Like, it forbids you from, writing on unexported struct fields, for instance.
It prevents you
unless you do it
from
with
that, yeah?
unsafe. Sorry?
Are you saying that the Go's reflection is safe in that regard, or unsafe?
It's safe because like you cannot write to an unexported struct field, unexported struct field. Although technically you can if you take the unsafe memory pointer. Like, but of course, going into unsafe and you can do everything.
Yeah, yeah, right. But the problem, I guess, is like if people could use that and bypass security measures that developers might have wanted by keeping things private. It's because the reflection can read it, which also maybe to some degree this is inevitable because UFMT, for example, might need will probably want to print out private fields too. But maybe we can also consider restricting that, possibly. I don't know. That sounds complicated. So yeah, there's one question is like, should users be able to read private fields of external packages through, say, reflection or even UFMT, or is that a problem? Obviously it'd be simpler if we can just say you can't access private fields at all. Then the security and the language capability security is much more tight and easier to understand.
I mean, I think like if like the UFMT is the example you're taking, like I think if you like, I don't think Go's FMT does print out unexported fields. Maybe it does when you do %#v.
Yes, that's what yeah, exactly. So we can double check and maybe consider just not supporting that one. Another feature of reflection that we probably don't want is like creating new types. Right? Can't you create new types using reflection?
Not really.
Yes, you
Okay.
can.
Yeah. And the problem with that would be, you know, we're trying to create secure, auditable, smart contracts, and if types are being generated dynamically, then that kind of defeats the and some of the types the type static type checking features, or at least auditability is affected. So
Yeah. But in terms of reflection, I don't see many issues, but that is for general Go, because it's well guarded by the unsafe package. And even if you are using reflection but are not using unsafe package, you can't really do dangerous things. The thing with when you create types with reflections, it's always unnamed type. So it's not possible to create a new type with a name which is previously unknown by other packages. It's
right. But even unnamed, even if you whether you create an unnamed type or a named one, it's still like you can't statically analyze that easily, right? Or in general, you can't statically analyze that. And arguably, creating an unnamed type is even more confusing. Like, how would we even display that? Users can't even go to a URL unless it's machine readable only, right?
okay. Yes. Okay. So and that's right. My take on reflection is it's a very useful tool internally, for example, for marshalling and marshalling. But yes, if you want to have a full control on and if you want to be able to analyze offline, pre-analyze offline and validate offline the smart contract code, yes, it's better to forbid, for sure.
I think for JSON, by the way, we could consider a native implementation, native functions. It would be faster. So, you know, like we take the Gno types, underlying types like struct value, array value, and so on. And for every one of those, imagine how to turn it into JSON bytes would be pretty straightforward, although decoding would be much more difficult. Okay. So yeah, maybe we can consider supporting reflection as like an internal package that users can't use, and maybe whitelist encode JSON. So maybe like new encoding function packages have to be whitelisted because it's using the reflection package, which is internal in Gno. Maybe.
I mean, I think that there are some, like, I would say, like, you know, just one basic thing I would probably want to be able to do from reflection is to like just do reflect value of a variable, which is which I imagine, you know, maybe is a struct, and I want to see what struct fields this has. I think, you know, I've used that many places, even places that weren't necessarily about serialization, but especially for serialization, of course.
Yeah. I like that too. I wouldn't mind if that was all we wanted to support. It's just, I guess even setting fields, it's not bad. Yeah, maybe we have like unsafe / reflect or something, and like, or we mark reflection as unsafe, and so maybe there's like some notion of, oh, this package has unsafe things, so you know you really have to audit that usage carefully. you know,
The other thing where I think like would be, one other basic thing that I think, we like, even if it wasn't an STD lib, like somebody should be able to do, is like the sort.slice function. So that is just, take a slice and be able to do the operations, length compare, which is defined by the user, and swap. So the sort of slice kind of simplifies the thing about having to do the sort interface and so on into just, I'll take care of that. Yeah, like I think, even if this wasn't like this should be publicly available reflection like API. And maybe you're right about saying like, we should have a small subset of Reflect that is available. And if we do find that there are some features of Reflect that we want to have internally for some things, then we can have them, but they can only be called by STD libs.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so you want type of and value of from reflection to start, and that should be already very useful. And this probably be the most useful part for users. And this is probably there is no harm to expose that, just type of and value of, but not the capabilities to generate values or to for example, even new is dangerous, I think.
Yeah, that because like new already starts allocating new memory, and so it has to interact with the allocator and so on.
Okay, so it's just type of and value of, which could be considered as exposable.
Yeah, and then like even then, I think like reviewing all the methods that reflect.type and reflect.value have, because I think we those need to be reviewed as well to make sure that they're all safe for our use.
Well, what's wrong with new? It would be a little complicated, but we could just we could implement the internals of new to use the allocator. Wouldn't that be okay?
I mean, it's creating a new value. I mean, it's already like I guess it's what we were discussing before, is that
I guess if you can't set or modify a value, there's no point allowing anyone to create a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It does seem like okay. So if you're just reading something, right, then I guess for sure that's something we do want to support, right? It's really useful to know what something's type is because of like the sort example, for example. So I guess we can start with that and see how minimal we can keep it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a half idea to take a stab at it, probably sometime after the other thing I wanted to talk about today. I'll be quick as I know we need to switch shortly, but yeah. So I finished up working on native bindings, at least a big chunk. So there's now a much simplified API for native bindings, and it it opens up possibilities, I think. And although of course, like, I'll finish writing up like useful tips and guides on how to review it, but then I think like it touches on the GNO VM quite a bit. So I think Jay, I know you want to be in touch with all changes to the GNO VM, so I'll kindly invite you to review it and send it to you.
Yes, please.
But yeah,
Yeah, feel free to assign me to review before things are done. I'm happy to review things when they're at like spec level. Feel free to ping me or call me for anything urgent. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, because we're almost, I mean, not we're almost, we are at the time. So, I mean, we covered, we maybe only covered 20% of the agenda, but that's okay. I think a few other things that maybe we can table for next time was, I thought something that Petar brought up, which was the extending constant behavior. I think this is a language discussion, issue 919. The recent one around Tendermint 2.js client that Jay, you and Milos had been talking about, but we have a new contributor at Genos. Is anyone familiar with who this is?
I think he's from Unblock, no?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a front-end developer for Block.
he's one of the core developers behind Adina, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw him, I don't know, here, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's also
Okay.
a super great TypeScript developer. Just shout out.
Okay, so he's a known. Okay, we have to wrap it up because we have our all hands.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I had just because I haven't gotten any feedback on it. There's a walk. Peter, you're working on a walk, but there's already a transpile.
I'm gonna close that issue. Yeah. For
Okay,
now.
awesome. Thank you. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you,
next
everyone.
time.
Thanks, everyone.
See you.
Maybe next time we can try to make this a little longer, like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
have to
Shall we
change
get
this time
rid of?
slot.
Yeah, shall we get rid of the all hands and just have this one continue?
Yeah. Or
Can we
the
vote on that?
We can move the all hands. Maybe we can.
Yeah, I think actually these are, anyway. Yeah, I think this is good. I mean, maybe we get 30 minutes earlier, if that's okay, and then
Maybe
we
another day. Maybe not Wednesday. That way we can go through the all hands time.
Okay. Shall we start a discussion about it? And keep it for now, but start a discussion on how to improve the conversation flow so that we don't have to just stop.
Yes, please.
Okay, that sounds good. See you guys all soon.
All right. See you
Bye.
all.
Bye, everyone.